You know that whole saying about just because you're paranoid doesn't mean people are out to get you? Well, that's pretty much the premise of this movie, The Woman in the Window. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review. We are talking today about this movie released on Netflix. Now, I remember seeing this trailer vaguely like a while ago and didn't know. It's probably one of those movies that got mixed up with all the, pandemic rearranging of schedules for Hollywood. I do remember seeing the trailer. I do remember hearing about this book. The premise is simple, but it is interesting. Anna Fox, who's played by Amy Adams, is a woman who's stuck in her house. She has agoraphobia. She doesn't want to go outside. She's taking all this medication. We see her very early on talking to her psychologist, her own psychologist. Keep that in mind. And she's kind of going off the deep end. She's very angry at him. He's looking out the window. She lives in this place in the city with these giant windows where she can basically see everything across the street, and everybody across the street can see everything in her own house. We very quickly see that not only is she taking a lot of medication, but she is heavily drinking wine while taking medication, and everybody knows you're not supposed to do that. Not only that, her medication affects her mentally, so she starts going a little wonkers. A little wonkers. That's a new word I just invented. She starts going a little wonky, let me put it, say it that way. But she's constantly spying on everybody outside. She's looking at the people who moved in across the street. It's a family, and this young son seems to be a little, he's a little off too, so she kind of embraces him. She kind of pals around with the wife that's over there, his mother, and they have some moments together where they're hanging out, and she's drawing pictures and they're drinking and talking about how bad their ex-husbands are. There's a lot of things in that scene, though, to pay attention to because they play out later in the movie. We also have her on the phone on and off, or I guess we're assuming she's on the phone because the way they shoot the conversation kind of off screen, and it sounds like she's talking to someone on the phone. The voice is immediately identifiable as Anthony Mackie, which also brings up the fact that Anthony Mackie plays her husband that she says she's separated from, but at the same time she has this tenant living in her basement that she's basically subletting, who is played by Wyatt Russell. Now, Wyatt Russell and Anthony Mackie are also both the most recent Captain Americas, and they both were in Black Mirror too, so I guess they kind of just they have the same agent, I guess, because they're showing up in the same stuff I guess that's the thing now. They're just showing up all the time together. Other notable actors in this movie, of course, across the street, the husband, who of course is the suspect, that he's bad and mean. That's played by the wonderful Gary Oldman, who has been in so many things that I've liked. And we also have Julianne Moore, sans red hair. She's blonde now, I guess. I like her as a redhead. As things go on, and all of these people, for some reason, keep coming over to her house, even though she's agoraphobic and she doesn't want to go outside, and she can't step outside. These people keep knocking her door and coming over and hanging out with her and drinking and stuff. But after she talks to Jane, there's a bit of an issue that happens the next night. So she's looking across the street, she's got her camera, she's being nosy again, spying on her neighbors, and of course, she sees Julianne Moore's character get stabbed. Now, meanwhile, she's still drinking and taking these drugs, she's going crazy, so us as the audience notice she's a little off, but then things kind of spiral out of control for the rest of the film, and you're spending most of your time wondering, is she really crazy, or is there really something untoward going on here? The acting was fine in this film. Mostly Amy Adams. Amy Adams was pretty good. Wyatt Russell's always good in the stuff that he has. Same with Gary Oldman. Everybody did their part well. There was no real standout performances here. There's an interesting choice by director Joe Wright where he chooses to film this movie kind of old school, kind of like a play. And especially back in the early days of Hollywood and the cinema, that's basically what, they call them teleplays for a reason. They basically filmed a play, and that's how a lot of movies were done. It hasn't been done in a very, very long time. One of my favorite movies that's shot that way are all the versions of 12 Angry Men, which I should review on this channel at some point in time. But they shot it this way, but it was less of an old school play and more of one of these modern avant-garde kind of things, because there's a lot of trippy imagery in this film, but I don't think it got trippy enough. And that's kind of one of the issues I have with this movie. There's a lot of great concepts, there's a lot of great actors, the writing's okay, but it goes there, but it doesn't kind of go over the top. And some of you know what I mean. Like, there's certain movies like Seven that, stand out and stick with you afterwards. And they have all these twists and you wondering and guessing, and it's very engaging. This movie is similar in the way it's supposed to be constructed, as there's this mystery, there's death and murder, you're not quite sure what's going on, and you're kind of supposed to be drawn into it, and there's some trippy imagery in it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when the movie was done, I enjoyed it while I was watching it, but it's not anything I probably will really watch again. According to Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of other people feel that way. It's got pretty much bad scores across the board, even though it's #1 on Netflix right now. So, should you watch it? I would say if you're not really into thrillers, you can skip this. If you do like thrillers, this is another one to kind of get into. Again, with this cast of characters that they have in here, this cast is amazing. The premise is cool. But again, you're just not going to remember it. It's not a memorable movie. It's not. It's shot in an interesting way, but not a memorable way. The premise of the story is interesting, but not memorable. And apparently there was a lot of stuff in the book that wasn't included in the film as well. So no, I can't really honestly recommend A Woman in the Window, but I want to know what you guys think. Are you interested in seeing this movie? If those of you who have seen this film, what did you think about it? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until next time, I will see you guys for more news, rumors, and movie reviews here on the Rantin Review. Have a good day.